Piecing together the puzzle.
11 Investigates digs into the torture and murders of two Toledo teens.
15-year-old KyShawn Pittman and 16-year-old Kamarion Wilder went missing after a party in December of 2022. Surveillance video shows the teens walking out of that party here at Maumee Bay State Park. Police say the host asked them to leave because one of them had a gun. Since they got into that black SUV pulling up, their families would never see them alive again.
Then less than 2 weeks later, their bodies were found in the rubble of a vacant house on Chase Street in North Toledo. Before being found in the fiery rubble, it was determined they were put in a trunk of a car, killed, and their bodies burned in a house fire. One was strangled, one was killed by some means that was a lack of oxygen. 11 Investigates sat down with a family of one of the teens.
She came in my room and said, "They found another body, baby." And I was like, "No." And she was like, "It's the boys." And I just closed the door on her face and I slid down my wall and cried.
After hours of interrogations, conversations, and deals, 11 people have faced justice in the teens' murders.
Piecing together the puzzle continues tonight. Our team has interviewed nearly a dozen people and reviewed thousands of pages of documents, reports, and evidence.
It is the most comprehensive report that has ever been done in one of the most complicated and brutal murders in the city's history.
Tonight at 11 will be part 2, focused on the families, and lead investigator Brian Duggar joins us now to discuss what to expect. Brian?
Yeah, when you take a look at this case, it's horrific because of what happened to these two young men. But there's that other element. The murders ripped families apart. So there's going to be a lot of emotion in tonight's story. But this investigation really does kick off with these families. Because of a social media trail, they knew that Kamarion and KyShawn were in a Maumee Avenue home when they disappeared. And the families were very aggressive in finding answers, including going to that house. Kamarion's dad knocked and was told his son hadn't been there. Kamarion's sister knew that was an obvious lie.
I was crying, I was sitting in the car and I was screaming to my dad, telling them that I knew they were lying, to not believe them, to go in their house and look for himself. But at the time, we was scared that if we retaliated something, if my brother wasn't already passed away, something bad would have happened to him.
Now, this may be the most comprehensive investigation I've ever done at WTOL, and there were a lot of other co-workers involved in making it happen. But we can really only scratch the surface with our broadcast. But if you go to WTOL.com, you'll see multiple stories with a lot of the evidence and videos we examine. On WTOL Plus, you can watch the entire series and see a broader discussion about the case. And at 7 p.m. tonight, go to our YouTube channel for a couple of videos that will be premiering about this story. And of course, join me tonight at 11 for part 2. Kaylee?
Brian, you've done so much work on this story. Is there anything that surprised you in this case?
Yeah, obviously the unusual thing about the case is 11 people being convicted. But I think when I went into the story, I was thinking that the two main players, Brent Kohlhofer and Charles Walker, that they are obviously guilty. And as I got more into the case and looked at documents and talked to attorneys and looked at some of the evidence, I do think there's some legitimate questions about their guilt in this case overall. So we're going to take a look at those questions in part 5 on Thursday night.